Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk. I'm Heidi Smith, I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in the United Kingdom, and today I'm working with the lovely flowering tulips to share a fun fold. It's Sunday, so that's my fun fold day, and I love this stamp set and I'm so pleased it's carrying over, not only because of the lovely tulips, because of the dies that go with it as well. But I am sad to see the paper going, it's so bright and cheerful, so let's use some of it up before it goes to make a fun kite fold card. These have been around, lots of variations, but I just thought, what else could you want in the spring for a spring birthday in a lovely bunch of tulips. The front opens up. No one deserves a happy birthday. I've used a bit of pale papaya ribbon to create a lovely little kite tail, and then on the inside I've used the lovely tulips there as well. Just simply as it is. I didn't add extra leaves and things in. I just wanted to keep it really quick and simple. So let's get going. I've used the lovely Mango Melody on this. I'm going to team it up with a bit of pumpkin pie as well. Just picking out those colours in that lovely DSP that we've got. So if you love that DSP, get it now while you can. Other things you're going to need a blending brush. And I'm going to show you how I just kind of created that sort of cloud effect in the background there. And you're going to need obviously your ink pads and stamp set. So let's get going. You're just going to start off with a standard card base. So our standard card base, well, for me, is 29 by 10.5. So 11.5 by 4 1/8. Obviously, just adjust slightly for your if you're in the US. A piece of card to line, I just think it looks lovely, and a dark piece of card to have that lining, and that's how we're going to start with our stamping. So there's my Mango Melody, and I'm using this lovely outline stamp here, and I'm going to stamp the flower first, because it's much easier to do the flower before you add the stem, rather than trying to match the stem up. I've also got a bit of scrap paper here, which I'm going to need in a moment, and I'm just using that infill stamp, like the heart-shaped one, to stamp off first and then infill. And you'll see I just pop my Stampin' Pierce mat in to make sure I get the best image on that as well. A bit of Pear Pizzazz next for the stem, and the stem can be used either end. I'm just using it here to come in from the side, and then I'm using these lovely little kisses again just to add a little bit of interest there as well. So that's the start of our stamping. That's the inside of our card, so we can pop that away. On the inside, so a little bit of Tombow just on the outside edge there. Okay, and there's the inside of our card ready to go. So the next bit I want to do is actually do that front panel. So for the front panel, you're going to want another piece of basic white. And again, just trim that down to 14 by 10 centimetres. I probably haven't trimmed this one. There we go. So there's my piece that's 14 by 10. Now, to create that kind of background effect, it is really simple. I've taken simply a scrap of card and I've just torn that front edge away. And all I'm going to do now is come in with my bit of Pool Party ink. So it's a pretty kind of greeny blue. And I'm just giving a slight hint of some sort of clouds. You know, the sky kind of gets that little bit. And again, I'm just starting my inking just off to the side there. Or I'm coming in from the card, just try and avoid those sort of big blobs. You get a neater effect. Just turn your card around, that just changes it again. And you just sort of get, let's say, just a sort of a hint of a sky. And I'm just going all round around the edge. And those bottom edges as well. There we go. So there we go. So we've just got a really gentle background on there. Blending brushes make it so easy. They are absolute staple. So that's my background. I'm then going to create my tail. So I've got some simple baker's twine and I've got some ribbon. And the way I've done this is I've actually created the tail separately. So I'm just cutting a sort of short length of baker's twine, and I'm just tying that around the end of my ribbon. And you want to make sort of 3 or 4 of these. So just a simple tie. When it's kind of reasonably getting to sort of closed, I just move it to where I want it to be, just over 1 centimetre. Tighten it up and then go back over. So a simple knot. It doesn't have to be it can be a granny knot, it can be a proper knot if you want as well. Just trim that close and then come in and trim the ribbon as well. So you've then got this little sort of bow, and then take good old glue dots. You'll see I've already done a couple. I'm just going to put that knot at the back onto a glue dot like so. So those are ready to create my string, and for my string I'm just going to come, what's that about? It's probably less than 6 inches. Okay, so that's going to come for my string in a moment. So what I would need to do now is create that kite fold for the front. So I'm going to do my bit of stamping first. So what do I need? You're going to need a piece of cardstock, and this is 9.5 by 11.5 centimetres. And you're going to want something to mark the cardstock with. You're going to mark some 9. It's 9 by 11.5, not 9.5. So with either a pencil or an erasable marker, just mark the top and bottom at 4.5 centimetres. Turn it once, and this is going to be the top section. Again, mark of 4.5 centimetres, like so. Then you are going to line up those 2 marks in the track and cut. Do the same again. And again. And again. And there's our lovely kite fold for the inside. You're then going to repeat that with some DSP. Okay, so you're going to again make sure that is 9 by 11.5. I'm just going to trim off because I want it to mainly be the oranges. So trim off that top bit. So do the same again. So we're going to mark at 4.5 top, bottom, and at that top section. Now obviously with this, make sure you do it on the top section because this obviously has a pattern, so you want to make sure that it stays upright. And then I'm just again going to line up those marks. As I said, pencil or an erasable pen, which is what I tend to use these days, because it doesn't go blunt, to be quite frank with you. And I use them in my work, so I've usually got one to hand. So again, cut those down. Don't throw these pieces away, because actually you could use the reverse of those to create a second card. I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute. So, okay, so then you've got your triangle, you've got your diamond, kite shape. Just get rid of those little marks while you're doing it. And again on these, you see these erasable markers are just, I love them. And then what you're going to do now, she says, what you are going to do is cut this down. So this you're going to line up in the track and cut. Again, you're coming into a point, as I say again, in previous videos, when you're cutting onto a point, I start from the middle and work out. just makes life a lot easier. So on this one I'm going to start at the top or in the middle and go up and down. If you start on a point, sometimes what happens is, if you imagine you're cutting into that and it sort of crumples up. So just make sure we do that. So those can go to one side. And now we want to create our kite fold for the front. So for this, you want a piece that's 10 by 25 centimetres. So you're actually going to mark the middle. I'm just going to mark at 5 centimetres. Turn it over. Mark at 5. Now we're not going to cut now, we're going to do some scoring. So that middle mark is just as my reference point, just to make sure it looks like it's going to line up. So just make sure those are visible in your track. Move it down slightly so you don't crease your card as I'm about to. There we go. Right. Score once diagonally. Turn it, line up those 2 5 centimetre marks again, diagonally. And then we're going to now, this middle section is going to be a valley fold and these other two are going to be mountain folds. So just crease those and they should be nice sharp right angles, as you can see. And when you come to put them together, just make sure that they are lined up, and before you really reinforce them well, line up the bottom section and then reinforce with your bone folder. And again. And now we're going to just mark and cut that bottom section again. So back with your trimmer. Again, just marking at 5 centimetres. And you are now going to cut. So again, just as we did that layer, line up your marks. And then for the second one, to make sure it lines up really well, you can do it in the trimmer as well, but if you just simply run down with your scissors, you know that now that that's folded, you're going to get that layer onto the front without any alignment issues. So again, just really crease it well. And I'm just coming in on the inside of this with my bone folder. Just pop that in between the layers. Flip and again. And then again, just remove. And these pens just erase with a bit of friction. There we go. So now we can do some stamping on our sentiment. Again, grid paper really useful for this to help line it up. So we just need to grab our sentiment and our flowers again. And I'm just lining up that sentiment with each of those diagonals. I forgot to use my Stampin' Pierce mat, but luckily it doesn't matter. Put that slightly off to one side. Grab my scrap and line that up. And you can go, I mean, if you want to, you can go over again and infill that a little bit more. I want my stem, and I'm just using Pear Pizzazz here. Again, just echoing the colours that I've taken the inspiration from in that paper. So, there we go. And there's our stamping for the front. And you know, I mentioned that once you've created this, you can actually get a second one from your DSP. So this is obviously the inside. Let's put the front piece of DSP on. I like to lay them out first, just to make sure that I've got the right pieces. And I do tend to use Tombow for this with that bit of wriggle room. So just coming down to the points there. And just layering that into the corner. I say I've deliberately chosen the flowers on this, but what you can do, I said, because you've got these offcuts, these are actually ideal because they flip. So you could actually, if you wanted to, put one of your offcuts on there, and you could have a sort of a different effect again. On the paper I used for my second card, got these as well, so you could pop those in. You could have one. I just decided I wanted a floral, all floral on the front there. But as I say, you could, you know, kites traditionally have that lovely sort of, you know, quarter colours. Okay. And as I say, just having the Tombow gives you a little bit of wriggle room. I've left that one over a little bit far and didn't adjust it before before the glue had set, but just popping those in. There we go. Pop my inside. Like so. Then all that remains is to create our layer. So what I did this time was add a nice bit of Stampin' Seal Plus on the back of this. And because this is a mechanism, it's kind of because it moves, I'm just making sure I'm adding the front with Seal Plus. And you don't need to be precise with this, I've just sort of angled it as I wanted to. Then the tail, I'm actually gluing that in place using my bows on my glue dots. So just take one of those off, you've got the glue dot there, and just pop that over the top. Like so, hopefully you can see that. And then again there. And then come in with those ribbon scissors. You know, I always say keep a second pair just for that. There we go. And that's now ready to go onto the front of our card. So just using my seal runner there. Again, opening that card out. So we're just adding it to the front. So there we have a fun fold, kite fold card for happy birthdays. Send someone a lovely kite of tulips. Thanks for watching. Come back and see me again soon. And if you'd like to purchase any of the products you've seen today, pop along to heidismith.stampinup.net or click on the links in the below this video in that description bar. But when that's standing up, it's lovely because you've got a lovely sort of kite fold poking out as a bit of a punch out, a pop out as well. Thanks for watching. Come back soon. Bye.